Hey everyone, it is Cindy at an open door. According to my computer, it's August 7th, 2025. This is the hour we call Finding Truth Everywhere, and our beloved William is going to facilitate today's discussion. But before he does, I do have a song that just popped up in my world. I haven't even listened to the whole thing, but the first 30 seconds created a little bit of a tingle inside. So I'm going to play it and then I'm going to hand things over to William. I love that you're here. Here we go.
Hey, it's Jason here in a fake fur hat. A couple of weeks ago, I asked people to point their cameras into the direction of love. And if you want to know what love is, well, check this out. The question is why? Why are we here? To say our hellos and goodbyes and disappear. This beautiful life, what is it for? To learn how to master peace or master war. There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. The answer. Love, 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 we all make mistakes. No, we're not perfect yet. Maybe God made us all from an accident. And the question that sits on everyone's lips is why should we pick ourselves up and start over again? There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart has been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, the answer. Love is still the answer. Love, 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 love. The question I'll ask at the end of my days is, what did I give and what will I take? There's only one answer that matters, even if your heart and your dreams have been shattered. Whatever you want, whatever you are after, love is still the answer. Love is still the answer. Love, 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 love. Love, love, love. Love, love, love is still the answer.
Oh, man.
All right, William, it's all yours.
Oh, man, I love that. My goodness. Oh, and what I kept seeing was love or life. Life is the answer. Life, life, life. Just the aliveness. And I suppose that's a great entree to the Sadhguru. I'm assuming everybody knows of him, has listened to him. He's been around. He's reached millions and billions of people now. And the latest numbers I hear that he's reaching every day 5 billion people with his recordings, with his songs, with his teachings, with his whatever. I came across him, my wife and I, golly, it must have been 15, 20 years ago. And at a time where it was just a wow, who is this white bearded guy? And I think my reaction to him, what I want to, I could go several routes here. I'm really interested in how you have experienced Sadhguru because I'll give you a little try snapshot of my experience. But the way he can express his life, and his finger is such a huge finger for me pointing toward life, being alive, and just listening to how he talks about anything. It's like the way he describes his childhood, where he would spend hours looking at a glass of water. What is this? What is it? Or a leaf. Or at night, it'd be dark. He loved it. He'd just go inside and he'd look and listen and be and with whatever was in that moment. Talk about someone who is so, for me, so in the moment, in the moment, in the moment, alive. I love watching him talk with these learned scientists, professors, teachers, whoever it is, with their reputations. And whatever the issue is, whether they're talking about whatever issue, he always goes inside. And when he comes out, he takes the stage. He just is so present with such an original, for me, a unique, a present way of describing whatever it is. If it's loneliness, it's like the difference when I listened to him talk with the Surgeon General back in 2024. Murthy, is it? For me, it was like night and day in a sense. Dr. Murthy, Surgeon General, was very learned and would talk, but when he talked, it was like he was talking from like reading something almost. Whereas Sadhguru, he was right present every second of the way. Whatever came out was right now, right now. And it was always so open, willing, pointed, and learned. I'm amazed at all the numbers. I don't know if they're accurate. It almost doesn't matter because of how he's using data. And as he says it, we have this marvelous instrument called intelligence, life. And he says it's like a sharp pointed tool. We're misusing it. And that we're the main problem that is there is not that we're thinking or we're using our imagination, that creativity. It's that we're not conscious that we're using it in ways that are not benefiting life in the world. Instead, we create suffering only. We don't realize it. We're just doing it. And it just is his humor. So I guess that music, what is love? Love's life is the answer. He talks a lot about intelligence, that we all have this capability, this creative intelligence. It's always present. And we're so caught up in our thinking, as he puts it, the psychological drama, that instead of being in life, while we have all this capability, we get so caught up in our drama that we miss life. And so, as he says, life and death are not two separate things. They're both happening. We're constantly dying and we're constantly living. But when we're afraid of death or wanting to avoid it, we miss life as well. So I look at how much I value silence today, which is the absence of all that chatter. And what a relief at times, although it's so fascinating. I love it. But what I sense from Sadhguru is that he is so alive and in the moment that you almost cannot be in the moment with him, because he doesn't, as he says, when you realize how important life is in this moment, he didn't say it this way, but he has his own way. He says, you wouldn't waste one moment with the nonsense that we find ourselves listening and abiding by. He's just like, for me, continually a fresh breath of air. That breeze, sometimes it's warm, sometimes this, it's cooling, it's direct. So that's how I feel so impacted by him. And it's interesting to me that 15, 20 years ago, I was so imbued. I've read his books, listened to him. My wife and I just love him because he got this great sense of humor. He's unlike anyone I've ever met. And then I kind of got away from him because I got exposed to so many other avenues, Course in Miracles, all the teachers, you name it, hundreds of them, hundreds of them. But then a couple, I don't know, 6 months ago, maybe the last year, his name keeps popping up. And then the last, knowing I was going to have something to share about him, I've been devouring some of his videos. It just, and you know, you won't believe, I just scribble, because everything that he says seems in the moment, and it's worth experiencing, looking at it. So, okay, I just love listening to him, and I hope anyway. I'll turn it over to anybody then. And thanks for that song. To me, it is life. Life is just wow, wow, wow. Because that again is his. I just for the past week, it's life. It's this. He calls it intelligence. Our intelligence and how we're using. We're 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 just not using it, and we're just kind of drifting. And he wakes us up. For me, it's all about waking up to life, be alive. So,
Thank you, William. Do you want me to watch the hands, or are
sure.
you gonna play?
I can do it either one, either way.
Well, it's your show, so I'll let you do it
Okay,
then.
I'll be keeping a like out.
And I could begin if that's okay while we're waiting for
Yeah,
hands.
yeah, I'd love to hear from you.
There's a couple of things, and it's interesting. So the first thing I'm inspired to say is about the Surgeon General Murphy. Um, we've run into interviews in the past um, where something inside helps remind me that the people I'm listening to are not all necessarily on my path, right? And so they come from a different background and they come from a different experience. And there were two things about the Surgeon General that just really lit me up. Number one was that he was having the conversation and that he was so passionate about the younger generations in the United States, right, wrong, or indifferent. The fact that he was so passionate about the mental health issues that were going on and how they were related to our ability to connect with each other and the changes in our social experiences. And there are things that Sadhguru said about from the inside out and all stuff that I'm so aligned with. But just the fact that the Surgeon General was having the conversation and was so open and attentive, um, even in his very military type of style, I found him so peaceful and I wanted to be his friend. I like he had a calming, straightforward kind of way about him that just really, really, really um, enlivened something in here for me. And the other part of the Surgeon General was a picture he painted. You know, we are in many ways so influenced by things that are out, like who we're, the family that we're, he had a flow of grace. Thank you, Kendall. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I am not like, how do I put this? The young child Cindy was not responsible for the parents that she was born into and the family and she what she was learned. But his story of being woken up as a young child, him and his sister, and being placed in the back of the car with his, you know, refugee medical Indian parents who are medical doctors committed to the care from the inside and out of all of their patients. His oh, I got chills. Like the way he described being a very, very young child, being woken up at 2 o'clock in the morning and being put in the back of the car because his parents needed to hug this woman who was this white, you could call her a white trailer trash, like they drove for some long distance to go to a trailer camp to hug this woman who had just lost her husband. That's they were just there to provide that kind of connection. And I could just feel like how his life purpose got imbued into this man who grew up with dedication and passion and education and all of those other things, but that one moment. And then I started crying when he said, and she's like in the audience, like his mother was in the audience, and he's communicating this story that literally you could feel how that his life and all the people he's able to touch and the interchange. And even like he has this picture of his mom in the I'm not gonna name it right, in her headdress and her robes, hugging this woman in like I'll probably never get that picture. I don't ever want to get that picture out out of my mind and out of my heart. Um, so that was one thing that was beautiful. Sadhguru, he lit a couple of things up for me, and one of the biggest is normal doesn't mean I'm like all the other human beings that I'm walking around with. He defined normal as being at peace, being open and centered and at peace. So this idea that it's okay that I'm filled with stress and anxiety because everybody else is. This world is insane, right? And there's an infinite number of reasons to be stressed. I'll have Sadhguru in my head going, it ain't normal. Normal is to be at peace. Normal is to be open. Normal is to allow the flow. Yeah, that's what's healthy, right? And is informing the cells in my body, and I'll never forget it. It's the same thing when he said, and I've heard Joel Goldsmith say something very similar, but the way Sadhguru said it really affected me too. Joel Goldsmith said, if you think you're right, you have these rights because the Declaration was written, because there's a Bill of Rights sitting in a government somewhere, you got another thing coming, right? Joel Goldsmith's like, a piece of paper in a government doesn't give you the right to freedom. Like Joel is very adamant that there's only one power and that it's God, and your right to be is inherent in the fact that you are. Um, and I heard the same, well, I heard Sadhguru literally said, I believe the quote is, freedom is an inner experience, not an outer right. It's the fruit. So if I'm willing to do the inner work, right, to stand still and know that I am one with consciousness, and to do the work to stop blaming the world for my stress and anxiety, then the way Sadhguru hit for me is that essentially I am rooting the tree deep into the soil of my consciousness, and then the tree grows. And if I keep just taking care of the tree, which is my inner well-being, then the branches will grow and the fruit will ripen on the vine. You know, just Jesus just stuck in there, right? But freedom is the fruit that occurs when I stay committed to the truth and to do that daily work. And so those were some of the things I wanted to make sure I said out loud while we're waiting for the next hand to raise.
Wow, wow. Boy, I tell you, that's sure. And you're talking about Surgeon General again, the word that comes to me, the gentleness that I felt from him, the gentleness as he was sharing. And even though Sadhguru was so taking so much of the attention and he was more exuberant maybe or whatever, I got the sense that the Surgeon General just was himself calmly, and he didn't need to do it the way Sadhguru was, but he had his own commitment and gentle follow through. But anyway, the way that you express that, Cindy, is just so moving, and I just appreciate it so much. And Melanie,
Oh,
how
hi,
about you?
hi everyone. Thank you, William and Cindy and all. And yes, Cindy, thank you for summing it all up. And when the Surgeon General was talking about, I was oftentimes I listen to this when I'm when I'm walking, and so I had been listening to it. And I was heading back home, and I'd been out in the field, so I was kind of gungy and everything. And so I was walking home, and a car in our neighbor, I was back in our neighborhood, and a car went by me, and I always wave at everybody just because I love to wave at everybody. And so the car went ahead, and then it stopped, and it backed up to where I was. And she rolled down the window. It was an older woman, and in her car were all these packages, so I could tell she was an Amazon deliverer person. And she said, "Well, I saw you waving, and I just wanted to come back and make sure that you were okay. I wasn't sure if you were waving because you needed help or not." And I said, "Oh no, no, I'm fine." But and she goes, it's just so important for us to take care of everyone else. And whenever I see anybody on the side of the road, I always stop and make sure they're okay because we're all one. And it was just so beautiful because here was this woman. I got talking to her, and she was she was, besides being, she said, "Oh, I also and have a cleaning service on the side too." And she cleans, I clean the fraternities here at the university. I said, "Oh my gosh, here she cleans fraternities, and in the evening she's doing Amazon deliveries." And she was as happy and as joyous as could be. And it was just such what a gift to me. And it shows the impact of when, caring for others, the ripple effect of that. And she said, "I live way out in the country, no one's around." And, yet she was just so happy and joyous. So anyway, I think that's the meaning of what he was saying about the importance of, and it can be the little things like that. What a ripple effect that had. It just made such a lift for me. So grateful for that.
And what I'm struck by listening to you, Melanie, and thinking back with what Cindy, how each of us hears and feels and lets in what that moment is meaning to us. And it's so neat that it's almost like I was looking in this direction and got whatever that experience was. And everybody has their own unique place and position. And what's coming out is such a nice reflection. How could, like for you, Melanie, of course, she just resonated with all your loving energy as well, and vice versa. You have it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Patricia, yes. Harry, I think you're muted.
Am I muted still? I hope
No,
not.
no, no.
Good morning, William. Thank you very much for your facilitation. And wonderful to be here. And great subject matter. My God, yes. I was thinking about how it started when I lived in the Boston area. It was like going to Harvard because I was in grad school. Going to Harvard was like, my God, it was the intellectual panacea of the United States of America. And this is happening at Harvard University, this introduction. And God bless the Surgeon General. I miss him terribly. I wish he was still the Surgeon General because of his humility, because of his commitment to be of service. And then here is this white-haired guy living simply. Not a lot of words, clearly with a great intellect. Be here now. That's it. Now is where it's at. Being simple, that connection of being simple and embracing life for what it is in every moment. It's what we talk about as a community, as a family, at an open door. So once again, thank you, Cindy, for allowing this to happen. It's just beautiful. I look forward to listening to more of his. I only listened to that video. I look forward to hearing more of his videos because of his simplicity and his sense of humor. It's like we take ourselves so seriously. I certainly know I do. It's like lighten up. Enjoy what is. Because this is what is. This is all we have is right now. So love you all. So in a lightened mode, I move on.
That's nice. Patricia, I was thinking about your shoulder, how it is. It's like that tap on the shoulder to get our attention. And then, oh my goodness, I had noticed all the things that I was maybe busy thinking otherwise.
Yes. And if I may add a couple of more things, if that's okay. If that's okay, I'm going to add a couple more things. It's like the shoulder has reminded me about the simple things, how important it is to embrace the simple things, like taking a shower or whatever else it may be. When I was really a practicing Buddhist, I took something called Bodhisattva vows, which is to be of service to all humankind. And I'll tell you a quick story. Um, I had just had back surgery. I'd gone to the supermarket, and this man came in who was very angry. And he pushed me aside. And I went, "Oh, don't you know I've just had surgery?" Of course, I didn't tell him. It was just inside myself. Oh, poor me. So we went around, and of course, I ended up in line right behind him as as we were exiting the register. So he was still angry. And I tried to be nice and say, "Good morning, how are you?" Rawr. Okay. I go then to Target to pick up something. And while I'm at Target, there's a woman in line who is in one of the aisles. And I looked at her and I said, "Excuse me." And she looked at me and she said, "You could be nice about it." Wake up call. She was right, of course. I was taking on that past experience and carrying it and playing it forward and projecting it onto her. It's an experience I'll never forget because it wakes me up every time I think about it. Thank you.
Yeah. And isn't it interesting how if we miss it the first time, we get another reminder and another one and another one. And then at one point, oh, maybe I get it more now. Yeah. I'm also struck by the appreciation you seem to have on these recognitions that you keep coming up with, that they really do mean something to you, that it's almost like you're valuing this life of the ups and downs and unexpectedness. So thank you for sharing all that. And Sandra, you always have your smile and your happy attitude.
Thank you, William. Thank you for this. How do I pronounce, is it Sadhguru? How do I pronounce Sadhguru? Is that it?
I always said Sadhguru, but however.
Okay. First, I want to say that what's touched me this morning and the past few times you've spoken is how you express this genuine, authentic caring for each of us. And I want to thank you for that. And also how you listen so intently and respond in a way that we know we've been heard by you. Thank you for that. It's very touching to me. This was very interesting to me. This, especially the juxtaposition of the two men and how they interacted, and how Dr. Murthy would say, like I'll give an example. He was talking about loneliness and how he was concerned about loneliness in this country and people on their devices. And Sadhguru seemed to always respond not on the same level that the problem was presented, but on a different level, if you know what I mean. Like he would respond with a different way of looking at it. And he said that you could be lonely in a crowd. It's not, or you could be completely comfortable without anybody around you at all and without interacting. I mean, I just love the way he said that. He said that loneliness was a psychological phenomenon. And he then went into the value of solitude, which I have always embraced personally. I love my solitude. I love my time alone. I love just being without anybody at times. And I love my time here too, with all of you. But I just like the way Sadhguru, with everything that was brought up, he'd take it to another level. And he seemed to be coming from a different kind of vision. And it reminded me of the Course in Miracles, like when it's always telling us to see with different eyes, to see things differently, to have vision beyond what we see. And I felt like he was doing that in a number of ways. And for me, all these different teachers, I don't say I'm on any path. I'm not on the direct path or this person path or the Course in Miracles path. I feel like I'm on a bird walk. I've said this before. I'm on a bird walk that meanders around and I peck at different things, and everything feeds me, whether or not my mind fully comprehends it or whether or not my personal self agrees or disagrees. It's like everything can be a source of nurturing. And I don't know how that works, but it just does. So another thing that I really liked, remember when he was talking about families and government, like the United States of America, and how people look up to us and copy us? And then he was talking about in families, how the children look up to the parents. You're on the Sandra path. Yes, Alka. Which is no path at all. Yes. And that really resonated with me because I remember when I felt like whatever was happening with me was just for me. And I was given a very clear message. I still remember where I was sitting and when I was doing that this is not just for you. And that I had a responsibility. He even used the word responsibility, which I like. Because I think we can misinterpret the idea of no choice. I like that he said we have a responsibility, because I realized how my vibrational level and where I was coming from impacted my family tremendously. Honestly, I have the power to change the weather in any room. I know that. You do too. We all do. We can cause a storm. Or, we can impact anybody really by just who we are and what we're being in that moment. And so when I realized that, I was even more consciously aware of watching the behaviors of Sandra and watching the behaviors. I don't know if I can say any more about that, but I like that he brought that up. Somebody is looking up to you. They might not even be looking up to you. They might be just standing with you in line, like Patricia told us. So I thought that was really good. I also like that he said he doesn't wind himself up. I think I'm gonna put that on a postcard. Don't wind yourself up. And then the last thing that really impacted me was that what he was saying about going inward, and the best way to have any I don't know what word to use, influence or impact, is to really work on ourselves and to go inward like we talk about all the time. So I want to thank you for this video, and I think I'll look into Sadhguru more and see what else he has to say, because I enjoyed him. I also enjoyed his humor. You mentioned that. He just is quick. He just come right back with a quick little answer that makes you laugh.
Yeah. Well, what you remind me of too, Sandra, is that I have this impression that Sadhguru is like talking like he's the only person there, only he's representing, including everyone. He is speaking, to me, it's always like he's always speaking for mankind. His concern is about the total, about the one, about the ecology, everything, the bigger pictures, the bigger picture, the bigger picture, and how he can start from the smallness. What's me? What's not me? Such a here now. Oh, here I am. There's not me. That's the glass of water. That's not me. But when I drink it, and always emphasizing the miracle that's happening every moment, just this life that we're living. And so living life in the moment, and it's that I get such a feeling of his taking his time, while at the same time moving with the speed of whatever's going on, but including. So
When you said that, I just got this surge of joy. I had this surge of joy that went through my whole being, that yes, life. This life is so freaking amazing. It's amazing. And that we get to have this experience of life. And by no means am I immune to the difficulties of life, but just that we get to have this life, it gives me such joy. And when you said that, yes, the joy came.
and I love that the words he uses, like intelligence, is such a meaningful word. It's life itself. But we use presence, stillness, a lot of other words that we've become so used to hearing. But it's like for when I listen to Sadhguru, he's not interested in the word. He's interested in the existential presence of life. Anyway, thank you for your enthusiasm, because I think that's what he incites, inspires in anyone, is that inspire you to live your life. Well, it's also dying, but that's okay too, because that's just the energy that's changing form. But be be aware of the totality of oneness. Okay, now we go to Indigo, we're just waiting for an inspired moment of joy.
Hi, William. So great to see you. Such a blessing to be here with everyone. Just such a gift. And I'm so glad to just hear what. Thank you so much, Cindy, for what you said. I haven't been listening to the news, and so I didn't hear the Surgeon General, just because I'm like, it's not, I don't want to listen to it. It's just, and now just hearing, oh, you know what? I missed out on this really great speech that the Surgeon General, was saying. So it's like, okay, you know what? I know there's so much politics and everything right now, but now I'm like, okay, no, I'm gonna listen to it. So I'm so grateful to be here with all of you and to hear this, and it's so beautiful and breathtaking to me to hear the Surgeon General and to hear what Cindy said about, to me, just this love that we all are, and this love that we are starting to just see, embrace, and be, which is just such a gift and a blessing. And I'm also learning to embrace the things that Indigo doesn't like, or I don't like. I can't do things, and I'm learning it's okay to not try to shut it out, to let it be there, to bring it in the light, and to love it because it's here for me. So yeah, I'm just so grateful for all of you and all these teachings. And yeah, it's just such a blessing. So thank you so much, William, for what you're sharing, and thank you so much for always. I love always hearing from you. So thank you.
To me, Indigo, you are a living example of a miracle, and you exude it, you experience it, you love it, and you share it, and you inspire it. And I think that's what I got also from Sadhguru. Life is a miracle. And he keeps pointing out, whether it's putting a piece of bread in his mouth and it transforms into his body, everything is a miracle. And how he talks about, if you tried to recreate a little finger, can you really do that? What it takes, the miracle at every little particle. And if I'm just a weed, what a miracle that is to be a weed. And wow, You mean there's room for me? Looking up at that big tree there? I guess so. And it just is so much fun. It just to be present. But as Gurudev said, I keep saying Gurudev because my nephew lived in ashram for 15 years in Massachusetts, and the guru there was named Gurudev. So I have that Sadhguru Gurudev. And isn't it interesting how we each pick something? Oh, wow, that fills me with, I feel the life in that, and then the next moment and the next moment. So, Cindy, you really set the table here so great. And I just love how it's like you kind of help fill in so many spaces. And I look at all the writing I did because I looked at all the words and what was being said, and my intellect gets so filled with it. And then you come along and you give the punchlines, and I loved it. Thank you.
Well, I
And
have
so,
another punchline that I
okay.
didn't hear anybody talk about. I wanted to speak it into this space. I kind of like that verbiage. He said that loneliness takes time, and time is something um, that has been showing up in my contemplations. Um, just in general, I recognize that for me, I equate truth being here with a me here now. I just say that. So if there's any aspect of what's going on in my space right now where attention is being placed on not me, not here, not now, I know I'm being pulled out of the present moment, right? It's just, and I'm believing my thoughts instead of being in the experience of what is. And so this idea that he placed into my space that in order to be lonely, to have the experience of loneliness, you must be in time, was very meaningful to me. Because the other part of it, he said it later, he said, massive change doesn't take any time at all, which is a great Course in Miracles pointing, by the way, right? It's just a change in perspective. Loneliness in the physical realm is an idea that supposedly has been part of the Cindy story for various reasons. Not that I don't have people I love all over the world. I just don't seem to have that intimate family. Wynn was talking about playing Rummy Cube in our meeting yesterday, and there was a yearning for that here, right? We're not playing Rummy Cube. I'd love to be sitting around the table with some close friends on a Saturday night with a pinochle game and some chips and dip. That seems a little bit like heaven for me. It seems to be something that's not in my world. Then I drop into this, am I okay now? Is there anything wrong with this moment? That whole missing something, missing another, that all comes in a space of time. So it's really helped. We've talked about time off and on with various teachers and how time is part of that dualistic space. And I found it very meaningful that it showed up in this conversation relative to loneliness.
It makes me,
I didn't say, you noticed, Sandra, when you sent that email, I didn't answer because I'm in the allowing it to unfold. Anyway, I
and,
wanted to put that out there.
and when you said about loneliness, I liked his phrase that loneliness is the incubation for suffering. And I also liked what Kendall said. Are we really living, or are we caught up in planning on living? So and it also makes me think the image I have is that when you crack the whip, I always had trouble doing that. But when you do it right, it goes snap. And maybe that snap is that wake up. Oh, that gets my attention. Thanks. So, Patricia, again, we get to.
Yes, thank you once again. I was thinking about this embracing life, and I had, when we were listening um, to the self-inquiry, what's her name? Linda, is that correct? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And the experience I had was like a whip. I am the creative energy. Whip. We all are. The creative energy is God, to use, or the source, or whatever. It's everything. It's everything. And as I was thinking about that and listening to this podcast or YouTube, one of the things that struck me was by embracing life now as part of the existential moment and transition, we take that into leaving these bodies, which I think will be an interesting experience. I don't remember if I did it before or not, and in another lifetime, but leaving these bodies into that joy, that the experience of, by embracing life, I take that forward into the next experience of consciousness. That was just a thought I had, and wondering what you all think about that at some point in time. I realize we're running out of time. Thank you.
And even your curiosity that you expressed there, isn't that our energy just keeps moving in the way it's meant to move? And we don't even have to do anything or feel. The last thing I'd say is how I hear Sadhguru always embracing the world, that it is the miracle of the world, of the oneness. So, so anyway, and I appreciate the opportunity to have been here because it pushes me, and I almost heard the flick of the whip on myself because I like it when I snap my whip, but I often don't because I'm kind of resting back in the bushes. So anyway, thank you all for your attention and sharing so freely. And Cindy, lovingly, I'll turn it back to you. Okay?
Ooh, I'm feeling the love. Man, this has been awesome. Um, Podcast I set up for next week is an interview with Papa G. And I was so excited to have found an hour long interview with Papa G. So it's on the website. And we are back in an open door Zoom room in 3 hours with Yumi Heibel and the Advaita in A Course in Miracles um, conversation, which is going to be awesome. And welcome, Fran. It's really, really good to spend time. And everybody else too, but